Hey there, internet friends, Trevor Starkey here with another episode of Wrestling Wednesday. For this week's episode, in honor of the announcement of a Punjabi Prison Match at Battleground in a couple weeks for SmackDown, or a month or whatever, whenever their next pay-per-view is going to be, I decided to go back and watch the last Punjabi Prison Match between the Great Khali and Drax the Destroyer, aka Dave Batista. Whew, that is not a good match. Structurally, the fact that the audience can't see anything that's going on inside the ring because of the two bamboo cage system setup, is gotta, like, that dampens the energy and excitement in the audience, which I think you could hear in the No Mercy 2007 crowd. I want to say that's where that one was from. Backing up real quick, if you don't know what a Punjabi prison match is, it is two steel-reinforced bamboo cages, one kind of normal around the ring and then another one outside of that. And the inner cage has 4 doors that can be raised, but then you only have 60 seconds to get out, and then they get shut and locked. So if you call for a door to be raised and then your opponent kind of grabs you or like keeps you down or distracts you or whatever, and you don't get to it within the minute, door closes, referee locks it, and you can't use that door anymore. The outer cage has no doors, you just have to climb over and be the first one to touch the ground to win the match. The match seems tailor-made to basically hide how bad of a wrestler the Great Khali was, in that, again, if your view is so obstructed, you can't see how bad and slow and lethargic he is in his chops, and how sloppy he was. I get why they did it from that technical standpoint. If you're an audience member, you barely see what's going on. If you're watching at home, you barely see what's going on because the cameras are trying to shoot through very thick bamboo. It impedes engagement within the match. That said, I will say if the bars were thinner, there is something to this kind of match. I was amused in that as the match started rolling on, I started imagining how I would book a match like this and how I would kind of map it out. And I would probably have something like, 3 of the doors go up and then there's battling and stuff and they get brought down, so 3 of the doors get locked. That 4th door, one opponent manages to sneak out while the other one is down, door gets locked, and so the opponent starts climbing the outside ring, and the guy who's still left in the inside has to dart up, jump from the top of the inside cage over the opponent to the outside cage, and then beats the opponent down. And this match, to its credit, gave you a kind of finish like that, in that all 4 doors got closed, and then the Great Khali knocked down Batista, started climbing, slowly climbing, climbed up, over, down, while Batista's still down, and starts climbing up the second cage, and Batista, with a sudden burst of energy, climbs up the first cage, gets over to the side of it. As the Great Khali is coming to the other side of the other cage, Batista jumps from the top of the interior cage to the top of the exterior cage, climbs over, and beats him on the way down because of how slow and hulking the Great Khali was. So to its credit, they gave the match like a good architecture. Like I said, the only thing I really would have changed in that scope would have been that, and it wouldn't have worked with Great Khali, but would have been that somebody gets out from using one of the doors while the other person has to then somehow climb over both cages in the interim. But overall, this match is just ruined by the slow pace of the Great Khali and how just bad he was. Did not enjoy it. I imagine the upcoming match between Orton and Jinder Mahal will be quicker paced. It'll be interesting to see kind of what other spins they try and do on the match. Like, if you've already played with the idea in only 2 matches with this thing of the guy jumping from one cage to the other, I don't know where else there is to necessarily go with it outside of maybe They both get out into the middle area, fight in the middle area for a while, and then there's one of the interior cage doors that can still be opened up, and Jinder throws Orton back into the cage or something like that. I don't know. Or vice versa. So yeah, that's the Punjabi Prison Match. Now going to be the headline feature of Battleground. I can't imagine it's going to be a thrilling match, but at least the Singhs won't be involved, presumably, right? That's a thing. So maybe Orton will finally actually be able to win. Elsewhere in the WWE this week, I do want to highlight that I think the women's gauntlet on Raw was a really strong match and a great way to close out that show, and it did a great job of really establishing Nia Jax's strength, which I don't think you really needed to establish, but the fact that she burned through everybody, and then Sasha Banks was able to come in and kind of take advantage of a worn-down Nia Jax and get her to tap out for the #1 contendership was a solid get. I think it makes sense that Sasha's getting the push, given that she was just at the BET Awards and that she is like up for a Teen Choice Award. Would not surprise me if she beats Alexa Bliss at Great Balls of Fire because of all that external hype that she's getting. And then on SmackDown, you had the rematch of the women's Money in the Bank ladder match with basically the same end result, Carmella winning the briefcase, quote-unquote, on her own, but you still had Ellsworth coming in and interfering at the end, even though he was banned from the arena. But this time, instead of him unhooking the briefcase, he just kind of used, it was a distraction. He got thrown off the ladder, so there was a little bit of comeuppance there. And then as Becky Lynch tried to climb the ladder, Carmella hit her with a chair a couple times and climbed up on her own to again win. So, screams of, well, this is how we wanted to end it. We want Carmella to have the briefcase, but apparently people didn't like the man winning it angle, so we're gonna do a quick little switcheroo. Overall, I thought the rest of the ladder match this time around was actually stronger, had a lot more spots, I think. So if it was always the intent that they were going to have 2 ladder matches, good that they saved the better moments for the second one. Personal favorites were like Tamina being pinned under the ladder, but then lifting it up to get 2 of the women to fall off, as well as when a couple of the women were like holding a ladder upright and Becky Lynch like Catwomaned it up or whatever. Some standout moments there. Good match all around. Clearly they wanted Carmella to take it, so now you've got Baron Corbin and Carmella as Mr. and Miss Money in the Bank. We'll see how that plays out. So that's this week's episode of Wrestling Wednesday. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. As always, I've been your host, Trevor Starkey from TrevorTrove.com. You can follow me at SnarkyStarkey on Twitter. And until next time, from here at the Trove, treasure your friends.